There's a phrase that doesn't get enough attention. 4 words that explain so much of the pain we see in the world, so much of the confusion we carry inside ourselves. 4 words that once you truly understand them, change the way you see people forever. Hurt people. Hurt people. Think about that for a moment. The person who was cold to you, where did they learn coldness? The one who betrayed your trust. Who betrayed theirs first? The one who made you feel small, invisible, worthless. Who made them feel that way before you ever walked into their life? We live in a world where pain gets passed around like something nobody wants to hold, so everyone keeps throwing it to the next person, and the next, and the next, until somewhere down the line, it lands on you. And then the question becomes, what do you do with it? Most of us were never taught how to hold pain. We were taught to push through it, ignore it, hide it, or fight it. We were not taught how to sit with it, understand it, and make a conscious choice about what happens to it next. So naturally, without thinking, without even realizing it, we pass it on. We snap at someone who didn't deserve it. We shut people out who were only trying to get close. We build walls and call it strength. We push love away and call it protection. We become guarded, angry, sharp-edged versions of ourselves, and we don't even notice when it happens, because it happens slowly. So slowly. That's the dangerous thing about inherited pain. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a warning label. It just quietly shapes the way you speak, the way you react, the way you treat people when you're tired, when you're scared, when you're backed into a corner. And one day, someone looks at you and sees the very thing you swore you'd never become. And that is a devastating moment. Because by then, the cycle has already continued.
But here's what I want you to understand today. The cycle is not your fault. But breaking it, that is your responsibility. Those are 2 very different things, and it matters that you hear both of them. You did not ask for the pain that was given to you. You did not choose the environment that shaped you, the people who hurt you, the experiences that left marks on your soul you're still trying to make sense of. None of that was your fault. You were a person who deserved better, and you did not get it. That is real. That is valid, and you are allowed to grieve that fully. But you are also an adult now. You are a conscious, thinking, feeling human being who has the ability to pause, even just for a second, between what you feel and what you do. And in that pause lives one of the most powerful choices a person can ever make. The choice to say, this pain stops with me. The choice to say, I will not be a vessel that carries this darkness forward into other people's lives. The choice to say, I am going to be the one who stops it.
Now I know what some of you might be thinking. You're thinking, that sounds beautiful, but it's not that simple. And you're right, it is not simple. It is one of the hardest things a human being can do, because everything in you wants to react. Everything in you has been conditioned to protect itself at any cost. Your nervous system has been trained, sometimes from childhood, to see threat everywhere, to strike before you get struck, to leave before you get left, to hurt before you get hurt. That's not weakness, that's survival. And for a long time, it probably kept you safe. But survival mode was never meant to be permanent. It was meant to get you through the storm, not to become your personality. And when you carry survival mode into your relationships, into your friendships, into the way you parent, into the way you love, it starts to cost you things you actually want to keep. It costs you intimacy. It costs you trust. It costs you the deep, real connections that every human being is wired to need. Because you cannot fully connect with people when every part of you is still braced for impact. Healing is what allows you to finally put the armor down. Not because the world suddenly became safe, but because you trust yourself enough to handle it if it isn't. And this is where it gets personal. Because breaking the cycle doesn't just mean being kind to strangers. It means going back to the places inside yourself that are still wounded and doing the work there. It means asking hard questions. Why do I react this way? Where did I learn this? Who taught me that love looks like this? That anger sounds like this? That silence is the answer when things get hard. It means sitting in therapy, or sitting in prayer, or sitting with a journal and writing the ugly truth about yourself that you've been avoiding. It means apologizing to people you've hurt, not because you're weak, but because accountability is a form of courage most people are too proud to practice. Breaking the cycle means choosing every single day to be intentional, to be conscious, to catch yourself in the old patterns and redirect, to say, no, that's not who I'm choosing to be today. Some days you will catch it in time. Some days you won't. And on the days you don't spiral into self-hatred. You take note, you make it right where you can, and you try again tomorrow. Because this is not about being perfect. It is about being committed.
I want you to think about someone in your life who broke the cycle. Maybe it was a parent who was raised in chaos, but somehow managed to give you stability. Maybe it was a friend who came from a home full of anger, but chose gentleness anyway. Maybe it was a teacher, a mentor, a stranger whose small act of grace landed on you at exactly the right moment and changed something in you. Those people exist. They are proof that it is possible. And what they all have in common is not that life was easy for them. It wasn't. What they have in common is that they made a decision. A quiet, daily, sometimes exhausting decision. To be different. That can be you. That needs to be you. Because here is the truth that I want to leave you with. The world does not need more pain. It does not need more people who are so full of old wounds that they bleed on everyone around them. What this world desperately, urgently needs is people who have the courage to heal. People who are willing to do the uncomfortable, unglamorous, deeply personal work of looking at themselves honestly and choosing to grow. People who understand that the greatest gift you can give to the people who come after you, your children, your students, the strangers your life will touch, is a version of yourself that is whole. You may have been handed a story full of pain, but you are also the author of what comes next. And every single day, you get to decide what the next chapter looks like. So be the one who stops it. Not for the people who hurt you, not to prove something to the world, but for yourself, and for everyone whose life your life will touch. The cycle ends with you. And that is not a burden. That is the most powerful thing you will ever do.